Hello everybody and welcome back to the Library of Ruina. Alright, so today is going to be another very big progress day. This time, I know for a fact we're going to be able to do it. Now you might be wondering why I'm starting on this screen. Well, simple. You guys were telling me that just because one of the stances specializes in a damage type does not mean that it should only have that damage type. So, I kinda agree, but at the same time, Sally's build is kinda like, it's all about getting the indexes, like, oh, boost this by 1 for a turn, or, you know, that. So I was kind of like, oh, well, wouldn't it be kind of fun if we're quite literally dancing to whatever the current strongest damage type is? That was kind of my thought process, but overall, that was a very, like, minimal comment, so, I think my build is relatively fine. I don't think it's, like, bad. I don't think it's fantastic, but I don't think it's, like, bad. Obviously, I put identify weak point here because, for one, it has a block, and for 4, it changes its damage type, so I kind of thought, it should be fine. Guidance of the gears was literally just so we can stay singleton and make use out of the singleton cards and Sally's gift, which is, while singleton, 5% chance to boost attack damage by 1, so I figured, meh. I was also given an interesting idea. I don't know exactly how it's gonna work, but let's give it a try and just see what happens. So, first, boom, 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 and then look through what they have. If they're using silence, get rid of it. Of course, multiple people are, why would they not be? So let's do that instead, let's do this instead, and then that's fine. So basically, rather than just choosing what we do, let them decide, and then we get rid of the price of silence. So, I don't know exactly how this is gonna work. I can certainly hope it goes well, but yeah. And then as we stack up through the fights, it'll get easier and easier. So let's go ahead and do it again. Anyone using silence? You are. Instead, I want you to graze the grass. Silence, no. Use Okay, we're good. So, if this strategy works out, we might be in luck as far as doing this battle goes. Obviously, we do have a lot of cards that have to do with, like, stacking up, so that might be a little bit of a problem, but all in all, I think it should be fine. We're certainly going to find out. That one is almost dead. As long as we can keep them killed before any are replaced, we'll pretty much be good to go. Now, we're going to put the block on Sombor because he is basically a block build. Excellent. Okay, so, here we go. Anyone using silence? No. Yes. Okay, can't do anything else. Okay, we should be good to go. Nobody is going. Okay, we're good, we're good. Ah! One down! Silence and death are similar in nature. I suppose that's not wrong. Excellent! Ha ha ha! Steel knuckles! Okay. We're looking good, looking good. We got a stagger. Ooh. Do extra block. Okay. We are starting to fall a little bit behind. Okay, keep going. Let's see, is anyone using silence? Ah, I see a silence! And then we're gonna go for concentration instead. Try and finish that off. Actually, quite a few people are going for that. Instead, we're going to come here. I want to go Savage Mode instead. Here we go. Okay. This is definitely a less intense way to do it, but is it better? I'm not necessarily going to say it's better. But, I mean, it's working out so far, so there's that. Ouch. Okay, we do have Blade unlocked, so we're going to be doing a bit more damage. We do have Savage Mode engaged. Oh boy. Yeah, we're falling just a little bit behind on damage, but I think it should be okay. Here we go. No. No. Okay, and then instead go for multi-slash here. No, do not use silence. Instead, I want you to graze the grass. Do not use silence. Instead, I want you to leave. Come to me! Okay. Ow. Ouch! Okay. Almost got him. So there's about to be 4 up. So we're not quite killing them fast enough. Multi-slash. Okay, 1 down, 1 is low, another 1 spawns. Okay. So we're gonna have a bit less damage this time, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Silence, absolutely not. Can't use feral knives either. Silence, absolutely not. Singleton, finish him off. Okay, and should be good to go. That was almost a death. That was super close. Took a bit of bleed damage. We are going to get a fair amount of damage out. Okay, so this strategy is working. I definitely think this is going to be a little bit more RNG dependent than the other ways, though. So, it should be okay to keep doing it this way. Dang it, we were so close. I think he's doing the mass attack. Dang it, we were so close. We had, oh. Okay, unfortunately, not a lot we can do about it now. Okay, we still don't want any silences going off. So what's he doing? 13 to 13, deals percent health. Oh my goodness. I thought we had done so well. This is gonna be another loss. Unless... oh yeah. This is a win. Question. How are we gonna kill him in time? Do damage? Let's make sure no silences are being used. Go for unlock instead. No silence. Go for binding chains instead. No silence. Stop trying to go for silence. Graze the grass instead. Okay. I don't think we're gonna kill, but we're gonna do a lot of damage. Oh, we might kill. Oh, I think we kill. I think this is over, boys. Come on. Keep doing damage. It's over. Okay. So, if there's 1, I just manually took over. If there started to be more than 1, or if 2 were staggered, I would take over. But if there was just like 3, or, you know, something like that, I would just let them choose. Apparently that worked out. Sorry if you hear my fan in the background. It is so hot today.
Angela, you have spent an immeasurable amount of time alone. From L Corp to the library.
So have you, Benjamin.
Am I truly the same being that Benjamin was? Do you find the inheritance of fragmented memories from the past to carry sufficient meaning?
You're quite a bit more incisive with your words than before. Did you have a change of heart, by chance?
Having sent my great and dear beacon away in the Pillar of Light, and having failed to give a proper closure to his ultimate plan, all I have left now is ferocity. The personality and characteristics of our previous selves still constitute us. However, those are but molds we were cast in. The mold is now being filled with our everyday experience in this place.
I don't expect you to ever understand the loops I suffered, but you surely remember the script and how we successfully concluded it, don't you?
Possibly so. After all, you are completing our memories and personalities through the books. Alas, the Sephiroth residing here are Sephiroth, not their original selves. I assume they will all feel it, in one way or another, as people that surely were their past selves, but feel as though they were different beings, or a dream. Angela, what has become of other branches of Lobotomy Corporation?
Probably sealed somewhere underground, following the shutdown procedures.
And what became of the employees and abnormalities in those places?
I suppose some survived somehow, though not everyone would have had that luck.
You let greed take over and abandoned all your duties. The library is no different from L Corp. The fact that your way of managing this place is nearly identical to how it used to operate speaks volumes.
All I could do was learn for the last 1,000,000 years in that basement was to treat humans as expendable in all types of methods. There was no other option for me to choose, even if I wanted to.
Is that why you employ abnormalities and ego as well? You direct the librarians to put on the shells of others' egos in order to amplify their unstable emotional state even further.
Do I need to remind you that I only have them do that when they receive guests, who also happen to enter voluntarily?
You earnestly desire to escape from the past, yet you struggle to break free, much like me.
I'm just using the resources available to me. Since you were already exploited by Aeon, it's only fair that I get to do the same. He brought you lot back from death without consent, and forced you to endure cycles of pain. You were nothing more than puppets to him, dancing on the stage as he liked. I was born from more of his irresponsible actions, too. How can you just accept all of this as if it were nothing, Hakma?
It is no longer a matter of whether or not his actions are acceptable. I simply chose to accept it. I am not one to judge my mentor's will.
That's idiotic. How could you even do that? You're...
Why do you hesitate?
Forget it.
It was possible because I have faith, Angela. The faith is also what prompted me to give you a chance.
This is frustrating. Both you and Aeon are completely insane. You have to be. You're not the Benjamin I used to know. Benjamin, he was the only person who cared enough to tell me it's okay, even though I'm not human.
You would be right. The one who stands before you right now is Hakma, not Benjamin. And yet, Angela, I am not so different from Benjamin, in that I do not believe your status of humanity is what matters.
Why don't you just go back to sorting books?
Excellent! Player has to... You have 30 seconds to do stuff. Boost the power of all dice on librarians by 1 to 2. That seems really good for farming. Every 13th combat page, the librarian gains power. On hit, deal bonus damage. Whoa. Add a silence. Take 15% of max HP. All other characters lose 5 speed. Add an amplify page. Take 10% of damage, gain 5 speed. Well, I believe now is the time that we just need to do as much farming as we can.
지친다 지쳐.
Man, I'm dog tired.
푸른 잔향은 대체 무슨 일을 벌이려고 그러는지.
What the heck is the Blue Reverbation up to?
그게 걱정이야? 아, 협회는 뭐라고 보고해야 하나?
That's what you're worried about? How are we even gonna explain this to the association in our report?
어쩌겠어. 우리가 본 그대로 적어야지. 어떻게 할 수 있는 상대가 아니잖아.
We don't have much choice. Just gotta describe what we saw there. There's nothing we can do about him.
우리도 우리지만 이과도 도서관을 조사한다는 후로 소식이 없어. 무슨 일이라도 있나?
Speaking of, I don't think we've heard from Section 2 ever since they went on an expedition to the library. Did something happen to him?
다들 정신이 없겠지. 샤오 부장님도 걱정이 많으시겠어.
They're probably just too busy with the work. Director Zhao must be worried quite a bit still.
뭐, 남 걱정할 처지는 아니지만 정리해야 할 게 있으니 슬슬 들어가자고.
Well, we have our own problems to worry about. We've got a few things left to wrap up, so let's head back inside, shall we?
부장님, 실례합니다. 최근 처리한 건들에 대해 말씀드릴 게
Pardon the interruption. Late at night, Director. We have a number of issues to address regarding the cases we've recently taken care of. Director?
Ah, sorry. I was distracted with thoughts for a moment. Don't mind me. You said you have a report to make. What is it?
A number of experts are going to extract samples from the distortions we've captured after failing to secure the crying children, and send them to V-Corp.
The process is estimated to take a full day. Will we be put on standby in the meantime?
Have you received any contact from the President or the Executive Board?
Yes. They told Section 1 to stay clear of this matter. Hana Association will be taking over further affairs regarding the library and the distortion, after monitoring this situation for a little longer. They felt the need to take their time to carry out a more thorough analysis and review of the library now that it's a star of the city. I see.
Are we going to pull out of the nest then?
Yes. You'll be going back as soon as the extraction is done, so pack your belongings in advance. Until then, rest up and get yourselves back into optimal shape. You ought to be prepared for any task.
Understood, ma'am. We'll be going now, so have a good rest,
Wait. Listen carefully to what I have to say. Section 1's next post will most likely be the outskirts, where the strife between the Ring and the Pinky is still fierce. We should especially be cautious of the Pinky, so keep that in mind once you're dispatched to that area.
Duly noted.
Miris, overconfidence is your biggest flaw. Be mindful of that, and you won't face much hardships in the future. Jun, stay on track and proceed. You have the qualities to be assigned a color one day.
Why are you telling us this all of a sudden, Director?
Don't tell me. Has there been other news from our superiors? No, I mentioned all the news I received to you. Instead, I received this piece of paper called the invitation from the library. It was placed on the middle of my desk, so I couldn't miss it.
That means a bit ago you
guessed right. Effective immediately, I'm resigning from my position as director of Section 1 of the Liu. I'll take all responsibility and penalty for the unilliteral resignation and breach of contract by myself. You don't have to worry about your careers.
What did you just say?
I'm saying that my action will not hurt your careers. You know that's not what I mean. Inside the briefcase behind me are the documents containing all the information I could gather about the process of transferring my position to someone else. That may not be exactly sufficient, but please do understand as we have no time to return to the Association HQ at the moment. I am terribly sorry to suddenly abandon my position, everyone.
You're heading to the library, aren't you?
This isn't like you, Director Zhao. You should know. You shouldn't make such a hasty decision on this matter. I suggest going back to the Association and gathering more intel. There has to be some useful information. You are right. This isn't like me. It truly isn't. It would become ill. It would ill become me to be tearful, and yet I cried for the first time in my life. I never knew I'd have any relations to such sentiments. I was reminded of Lowell's earnest request. He asked that we do not throw our lives away, no matter what happened to each other. I thought he was stating the obvious. I thought I could remain calm and cold. But when I was faced with loss and reality, I simply couldn't get over it. I'm ashamed of myself for this disgraceful behavior. Anger, heartbreak, despair, sorrow. What should I call this emotion I feel? I'm not certain. There is one thing I do know for sure. I've seen countless lies and falsehoods as I climbed the ranks. I believed that everything in the city was deceit, packaged as truth. My life was full of such lies, after all. The feeling toward Lowell in my heart, however, were true. I get where you're coming from, Director. Still, stepping down from your position like this will be unfavorable in more ways than one. If you break an association's trust, you will be excluded from this business, in one way or another. Even if you open up an office later, and that's not all, after... Even then! Has there ever been a time when I was so worried sick? Has there ever been a time when my heart ached from parting? Has there ever been a time I wailed, pining for someone dearly? Lowell helped me realize that my heart is sincere. Thus, I shall gladly surrender my body to the flame of passion for him, to prove that there was meaning to my life. How could you say it so proudly, ma'am? Director Lowell did, and now you, too. Alright, Zhao, let me ask you this straight out. Let's say that you managed to get Lowell's book. Then what? Are you doing this with any plans for the next step in mind? No, I have none. I'm simply trying to fulfill the will of my heart. You should know very well how others will look at you if a big-name fixer like you acts emotionally in situations like this. There won't be a place for you to return. Is that what you want? Even if stars were to rise in my sky someday, what good would they be without a companion to watch them together? I've already made up my mind. You won't convince me otherwise. Do you know that we'll be following you? I expected that, somewhat. And you're not trying to stop us? If you help me, I'll have a better chance of getting his book. You're being so selfish, ma'am. What else can we really do when you start acting in a way you've never done before? I won't force you. You're free to choose to stay. If you still choose to follow me, however, you'll have my eternal gratitude. The heck did I just watch?
Maybe you weren't entirely correct about fixers, seeing that even the Section 1 director of an association can make such an emotional judgment.
I was her husband, and they were, about to go on their honeymoon. I'm shocked, too. Who could have seen that Zhao, of all people, would be blinded by love? Looks like the light that shone during the white nights and dark days had more influence than just creating the distortions or ego, huh? The impression I'm getting from all the guests I've watched from here is that, well, people have gotten more honest than usual.
And what we have seen reinforces that. I can understand her to a degree. If something were to happen to you, I'd also.
Whoa, what? Don't tell me, you're saying, you're in, wait, hold on. Wait. My mind isn't ready yet.
Roland, please save your breath and cut the... I know best what my sentiment towards you is, and it isn't love.
Alright. Whew. Hey, look, I know what it's really about, alright? You mean it's... gotta catch my breath. Hey, gonna be tough to find another person like me to chat with, yeah?
Correct. It will be extremely grueling to find and build a relationship with another companion on your level from scratch.
So, at the end of the day, we've come to the library. I can already picture the branch leader furiously grilling us. I'm deeply sorry for you. What's done is done. The choice was ours. Let's focus on taking care of business now that we've stepped into this place. And our deviation might be extenuated if we produce good results in the library. I'm fine with this place being my grave. All of you, on the other hand, should value your own lives more than anything. Yes, I know that this is a humiliating thing for me to say when you've already followed me here.
You're awfully brazen, ma'am. Let's just rule out the possibility of any one of us dying here.
If we get kicked out of the Liu, you'd better give us new jobs to obtain our grain. You have my word.
Greetings, dear guests. I am Angela, the director and librarian of my role's namesake.
I'm afraid I'm not in the mood to greet you back with hospitality, but manners are manners. My name is Zhao, and next to me are Chun and Miris. Greet her, men.
Hello.
Yes, thank you.
What's with the hesitation, miss? Feeling guilty for what you've done after all this time?
I'm sure you know what fate your colleagues wearing the same uniforms as yours suffered here, don't you?
Indeed, I do.
Yet you've made this choice. You were not ordered or coerced by anyone else either.
You'd better watch your tongue, Miss Library Director.
You talk like we're already destined to die here.
Enough, you two. What is your point, Library Director?
I'm simply curious about the psychology of humans, which I know that love, and of the reasons you're trying to earn him back in spite of the imminent danger. I have seen it more times than I can count, a story of someone looking for substitutes. From my experience, I cannot understand how you can value your goal more than your life.
Are you trying to assert I'll be able to find a replacement for him out there if I tried?
That is correct. That way, you won't have to throw away your precious life.
A machine won't truly understand. The feeling of burning blood coursing through my veins of something I cherish. The desire to have it back by any means, in any form. Precious is not a word you should utter as lightly as you just did. Dreams, hopes, ideals, all the words that describe what motivate humans to get up and live. Those words encompass meanings too grand for description, but it's simple at the same time.
I still find that insufficient reason to risk your own life.
I won't deny that. I presume others will overcome the loss of what is precious to them in different ways.
Then why have you entered this place with such pride? Was it ungrounded confidence that you're stronger than us? Or were you merely blind with anger?
That is what I would like to know as well. However, I know that this emotion I'm bearing isn't wrath or sorrow.
You can talk big, but it doesn't make your life any less futile. To walk into the jaws of death for a meaning of existence. Sure, you can act all confident right now, because you think you're firm and sturdy. But when unexpected situations start to unfold before you, will that firmness of yours last? I think not. You'll be the first to break down, rather. In the end, it's having a faint hope that just becomes pointless in the face of death. What can your trifling resolve change?
Is this some kind of warning to turn back?
I have neither the power nor the right to stop you.
You're really getting on our nerves now. She's definitely looking down on us. Let's just get in now, Director. Yes, I have the hope that I will find Lowell's book here. Even if I think of myself as firm, I cannot stop others from thinking that I'm petty. You're free to think of me as a pathetic human being. I couldn't care less about how others view me. What will the resolve change, you ask? Of course, it will not do much. Hope won't magically illuminate the path ahead. It won't always be bright. It will be similar to despair in a way. I might be lost in the dark, not knowing what to do or where to go. It doesn't give me a path, nor does it brighten the way. The true are truly alike. However, they're still considered two separate concepts with two separate words, because there is a difference to be found. The right thing, by bearing in mind what I must do this instant, and taking it into action, the impossible can be achieved. Hope allows one to touch the untouchable, reach the unreachable, and see the invisible. I won't let your words break me. I won't stand back. I'm gonna attempt to pronounce this, and it's going to be wrong. Pofenjihu! That probably wasn't right. The cauldrons were broken, and the boats were sunk. There is no retreat. So let us enter if you are not afraid of us.
May you find your book in this place.
Of course we gotta go through 5 dudes first. Gah! Only one floor. You want us to go through Zhao, her buddies, and... Oh my god. Fine. I may as well just take Gamera at that rate. I won't. This is gonna suck no matter who we bring. Maybe Yesod. I'm feeling Yesod or Hod. So they're all just the same. Other than this, if a burning flash is in hand, discard it and draw a page. Then add the offensive dice on the discarded page to this. Whoa. I can't say I know how well this is gonna go, considering we're already super freaking beat up, but we'll certainly see. Oh, and of course I have 2 extra buddies, because it wasn't hard enough. 400 health, 125 stagger. Speed dice plus 2. Offensive die, yeah, that's normal. On a melee hit, inflict a burn and force of a wildfire, a status that lasts 2 scenes. If an enemy with force of a wildfire is staggered, inflict all other enemies with burn equal to half of that amount. Oh, good. At the start of scene 2, 2 random combat pages will gain while this is inflict twice as much burn. This would be an amazing Kyle deck, considering he's like a dragon and whatnot. When targets hit by melee attacks from this character take burn damage at the end of the scene they were attacked. They will also take stagger damage. Wonderful. Raging Storm, love. Inflict burn, big attack. Fervent Emotions. All dice gain +1 power every 2 emotions. It already does so much damage! Fiery Waltz. If the target has 4 or more burn, inflict burn to all enemies. Wonderful. Emotional Turbulence. Okay. Violent Flame. When inflicting burn, inflict an additional stack. And then 3 that just restore light. What do you do? Stagger with burn. Okay, they're pretty normal. Fervent Emotions. Flaming Dragon Fist. Inflict 6 burn. Okay, yeah. At the start of the next scene, draw point blank stab. Okay. Blunt dice power +1. Oh, wonderful. Absolutely. Who do we even go for first? Zhao, I guess? Weak dudes, Zhao, and then these 2? Milli song? No. Your fortress won't stay strong for long. If you feel you're in peril, don't mind me and retreat.
Let us begin composedly.
Oh, wonderful. We're already so beat up, dude. There's no way. This is so just... I can tell you, Ingvar is already dead. Ingvar is already dead. Oh, that's just so good. It's wonderful. Alright, here we go. Forming Storm, we're just gonna take a bit of damage. Fiery Waltz! Rip. Yeah, he was already super low from the first one. Ow. Oh, that's actually not a death. Never mind, it is. Okay. Big damage. Ow. I'm surprised he won that. Deal extra damage. Deal damage equal to the dice value. Blunt dice power. You know what? Let's go for blunt dice power. Just see if we can really make this happen. Both of these seem pretty good. 8 times, and he... Oh, but this could... You know what? Solemn Lament. Let's potentially just destroy someone. And then... Max Light. With the lowest HP, let's do Eternal Rest on you. And then... Durfreischutz. Oh boy, here we go! Mass attack. Oh, speaking of mass attack, Raging Storm! Harm! And then, oh man, Mao is taking a beating this turn. Oh, yikes. There's not a lot Mao can do about this. Alright, here we go. This is gonna be a nasty turn. Hate! Ah! Solemn lament! Behold the gunshots of oblivion! Ow. Emotional turbulence. Dang it! He's dead. At least he got the hits off. That's a lot of debuffs on Zhao, at least, next turn. Okay, here we go. Oh my! Ugh. Here we go! The power of Durfreischutz is ours. Flooding bullets? Yeah, let's do that. And then, Magic Bullet to try and win the clash here. We're gonna take a lot of damage no matter what we do this turn, though. Let's go for the stagger here, and then I also just want to double up. See what we can do. Okay, that was a few blocks. Not much damage. I definitely could have hoped for more. We do take one down, though. If nothing else, that's a few books. Dead to burn. Goodbye, Mao. Not another one. Well, it's up to you. I keep saying you are by far my tankiest person, but... Solemn Lament here. Maybe we go for Magic Bullet. I don't think we'll survive, in truth. Well, just see what you can do. If you can kill Zhao, I would love those books. However, just don't have the dice rolls. That's right. A little bit of, you know, sustain. So let's see how we do with the show. A movement, a second movement, and then the third movement. Remove a bit of the light, shall we? And then let's also gain some health. Let's gain some more health. Excellent. And one more time. Gain the health. That's right. Back to full health there, boys. Uh-oh. It's a good thing, too. Nice try. You're gonna have to try a little harder than that. Man, can we have this background all the time? It looks great. A grand show. Okay. Ow. Get as much damage as we possibly can before everybody dies. Ow. I mean, that was a pretty dang good turn, if you ask me. Which you probably didn't, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. It was a pretty dang good turn. Okay, let's hope we can get some kills here. I'm worried about you. The fact we left her for last feels like a mistake. Oh, the stagger! Blade unlocked! We now have +3 to all of our dice power. Do as much damage as we can. Extract the fuel. Jeez. Keep doing the damage. Gale kick. Oh, we just got gale kicked ourselves. Okay, so the reason I said she has +3, she has Teardrop, Elation, and Blade Unlocked. So I mean, that's a pretty strong character right there. Can we potentially stagger her? I feel like maybe we can. We're gonna go for it.
And then maybe we can finish off some characters, maybe?
Alright, this is gonna be a little bit of a painful turn for both them and us. Ah, excellent stagger. That's what we like to see. The flow of the sword. And another one down. Oh, he ran away. Okay, well, one ran. I think we can finish this off. I think we've got this. Alright, big damage. Woo! What was that, like 70 damage? That's a lot of damage. Good. Uh-oh. Oh, bye.
You don't seem to understand how strong I am.
Director, I don't believe we could go any further. Oh, she ran too. Okay, so two of them ran. Okay, well, that explains some things. I know what's coming up then. Let me go! It's not over yet. Please calm down, Director. You could have fled alone if you were so afraid. Explain why you had to drag me along.
That form. It's oddly reminiscent.
I'm not sure. I can't exactly tell if that was a distortion or ego.
That one guy ran off with her at the speed of sound, to be fair. No wonder we couldn't get a good look at it.
Was it confusion? I wonder what the reason was. What motivated him to do such a thing?
Didn't expect him to care for his boss that much. I've seen people run off on their own, but dragging someone else along so they can both live? That's new. Though, the woman who got nabbed was determined to fight and win. Will they come back to the library?
I don't know. What will happen next is a mystery, as always.
All I got to see for sure was horns and snake scales growing out of her, I guess.
That was a transitional phase of some kind, I assume. It was likely a sign of gradual progress. I couldn't tell if it was a distortion or not because there's such a fine line. What we saw won't be sufficient clues for now.
That's how it works, huh? The whole thing about lines of emotion is still lost on me, though. What are you pondering about this time?
I'm just frustrated at the lack of a clear answer. Anyway, we will have to wait and see for now. We don't even know what has become of them yet.
Oh boy. 2 phases. Fine. I don't need to hear another word from you. If you're so fearful of death, leave me and escape by yourself. I wouldn't have brought you with me if I were such a coward fearing for my life. There has to be some reason you've done this then. If your reasoning is unsatisfactory, know that there will be consequences for your actions. Director, your battle will be nothing more than a messy scrape if you try and keep up in your current state, ma'am. You have to realize it yourself. Out of my way! Step aside. I am as composed as I can be. You can't even best your own subordinate right now, Director. There is nothing composed about charging blindly into the fray and brandishing your sword like a madwoman. They're foes that we must destroy anyway. In fact, I would argue that it's better this way, as I can firmly grasp my blade with an undaunted heart, unshaken by fear. Even if they were opponents that warrant such a fight, wielding your blade while you've lost yourself will only yield a pointless and juvenile revenge. They said anger is needed in order to face the enemy, but an excess of that emotion will ultimately hurt yourself. Fury shouldn't be the only motivation to bestir oneself. I thought you knew this well, Director. You're the one who taught me that I'll spill my own blood if I can't see where the edge of my sword is pointed, after all. I have no resolve to show those who have taken what is mine. They had the nerve to make an offer where we must put our lives on the line to earn it back. Such absurdity. Now tell me why I should treat them with any courtesy. Even then, that's not how Lowell would have reacted, so please, Zhao, gather your senses. Miris, I am aware. I know that the library didn't snatch Lowell, and Section 2 away from us. I am well aware that they took a fair offer and made a bet, and paid the rightful price for losing it. But what can I do when I simply cannot bring myself to accept that? Was it truly done of their own volition? Can anyone say with utmost certainty that no coercion was involved in their decision? Whenever my mind was plagued with such thoughts, I couldn't make a rational judgment. Is it because Chun and the other fixers are dead? Is that why you're acting like this? You would be right. At first, I thought I had only to care about my own safety. As long as I could get my hands on Lowell's book. I decided I wouldn't care about my surroundings, even if that meant I would have no one to rely on once everything was over. But as I saw my colleagues die out one by one, my mind began to waver. Am I truly going down the righteous path? Is it truly right as a human being to think of myself, and only myself? When the many of those who trusted me and followed me have perished, should I overlook their deaths and keep moving forward? If my selfishness is causing harm to others, shouldn't I stop before it's too late? Shouldn't I save those who still have a chance? If I had to make a choice, who would be putting up with the hardship? Is it you or I? Miris, answer me. I'm no longer certain what I should put first. I'm not the one to give you an answer for that. How should I know better than you about yourself? You know I'm not in any way wiser than you. Here's what I can say, Zhao. None of the fixers who followed you here were forced by anyone to do so, and I'm no different. There can't be any compulsion about trusting you and willingly following your lead. Now can there? Call it heartless, but as with everyone else, if it was your power that we were after, we would have left once your authority faded. You've stepped down from the Liu Section 1. You're not in the position to pressure us anymore, and we aren't obliged by any duty to obey you. What you're saying is that I can stick to my belief and move on, the same way you kept believing in me and acted for me. Like a cup of tea that maintains its good scent after half is gone and a quarter of a day has passed. Zhao? Don't you hear a sound? A warm and charming voice, almost as if it were out of this world. What are you talking about? I don't hear anything other than our own voices. What? You're wrong. No. Maybe there is truth to what you said. Are you calling me selfish? No, I don't think so. A human cannot live alone. No man is an island entire of itself. They need someone else. Yes, someone whom I will keep alive. Someone who will become the reason for me to keep on living, no matter what. Someone can be alive because I am there with them. As that person can live thanks to me, I myself should not expire. A way to protect you all, and myself at the same time. I shouldn't die. By cherishing myself, I am cherishing the people around me. Therefore, what you're saying isn't right. I won't be deceived by your temptation. Yes, I suppose this is what you meant when you said a selfish mind shouldn't be viewed negatively. I'm sorry. I had let my own emotions overwhelm me, and failed to lead you rightly. This will be the last time I apologize to you, and everyone else. Miris, I'm still in the dark, and I cannot see ahead. I'm frankly afraid, and I might stray onto wrong paths sometimes. However, I trust myself to return to the proper way, as I stoutly press onward. Just because I cannot see the way ahead does not mean that way does not exist.
Did she manifest ego just now?
That certainly resembled ego, although it was incomplete like Philip's.
She was mumbling to herself, but it sounded like she was talking to someone.
The voice we couldn't hear, but Zhao could.
Kinda like abnormalities.
What do you mean by that?
I can hear some sort of voices whenever I borrow strength from the abnormalities here. The other librarians can't hear what I hear.
A voice is only audible to one person. Sometimes, a voice filled with rage rings through my head, and other times I hear a sorrowful wail. My mind gets sorta shaken by those voices somehow. Listening to it sometimes makes me feel like something is boiling up inside me, or cooling my head down all of a sudden.
I think the voice Zhao heard is different from the ones you and Gabura hear.
In what way?
The voices you hear will only say whatever they want to say, one-sidedly. I'm sure there are exceptions, but most will probably behave that way. On the other hand, Zhao was talking with the voice. She was in a conversation with whispers that seemed to want something to happen to her.
I'm not so sure. We don't have solid evidence to prove that the voice was different just yet. Anyhow, we've got a receiver before anything. The problem is how we're gonna deal with that figurative beast of a person.
You're asking me.
Shimmering. Willfire. Nothing new yet, but there's still a second phase. We have 2 floors this time, at least. Raging Storm Love, Fervent Emotions, Coordinated Assault. Give 1 Strength, 2 Protection, and 2 Stagger Protection to a random other ally. Whoa. Fire Waltz. Okay. Anything new? Shimmering. They're both shimmering. Oh. Coordinated Assault, Fervent Emotions, Flaming Dragon Fist. Okay, well, here we go. Just don't have regrets.
Yes, you can trust me now.
Jeez, everything is free. So... Eesh. Are we supposed to go for Miras first? Because she mentioned if someone is there to rely on me. Let's go for Miras. His turn's gonna hurt no matter what we do. Unfortunately, we did not pull Miras, but I almost have him down. Oh boy. Oh, that's multiple staggers. Ouch. Oh, he's so close to going down. Oh, that mass stagger was so good. And we just got Obsession. A lot of good it does us now. Red Eyes, I suppose? Oh, everybody is staggered. Well, so close. We basically just focused down Miras, and a lot of good that's done us. Alright, let's just try and do as much damage as we can. We're gonna take a bit more damage than I'm comfortable with. Hopefully it works out. Ouch. Boom. Okay, are we going to go to the second phase early because we killed him, or does it just not matter? Oh boy. We didn't kill her. Oh, here we go. You've all died. No one remains by my side. In here, you fought with me till the end and perished. I feel lonely as a dragon soaring in the air, my heart heavy with regret. I only see darkness. I can't see a step ahead. Where must I go? Where does the courage to put one's foot forward come from? What did you believe in so firmly until your last moments? Was it the hope that we will emerge victorious? A strong leader? Or the goal of earning the books? I sadly won't be able to hear your answers now. However, as the breath of life momentarily rests inside us before it scatters to return to its source, I will meet you again one day, and I may ask you my question then. You again. You're one persistent conversationalist, are you not? I won't collapse or succumb to fear out of despair I brought onto myself. There's nothing that a human that I cannot overcome. I believe that I will reach the ideal consequence if I remain steadfast and proceed with perseverance. I sincerely
ingeniously believe this. No, there's no need to be disheartened in the face of such a thing. Without despair, hope won't be needed either. Fear is born, for there is hope. But bravery is born because there is fear. Without all these, there is no life. And what is life without a reason to live? So why would I not bask in this sensation of vitality? By the way, the fact that it took both floors to do phase 1 and floor 2 is already half dead, this isn't gonna go very well. I will not fight for my own sake. Not to disregard the colleagues who gave their lives for me. No. Rather, I would be disregarding their sacrifice if I gave up here, because of what happened to them. I don't see myself ever agreeing with your words. A lone tree cannot form a forest on its own, you say. An interesting tale. Yeah, this is literally going to be a loss. Is there any doubt? Shimmering, dice power +1. At the start of the scene, inflict 2 burn to everyone. Oh, good! When Pulau is active, all characters are uninfluenced by any effect on power for the scene. Activates first scene, activates every 2 scenes. Every scene uses the combat page to deal stagger damage to self, but grants strength if it loses... Wait. Stagger damage to self, but grants strength if it loses. What? So let her hit you with it? Take no damage from burn. When inflicted with a status ailment that isn't burn, reduce the amount in half. Ugh. Fervor. Okay. 25 to 30, inflict 8 burn. Inflict 2 burn to all enemies. Gain 2 strength and endurance next scene. Take 10 less damage from burn this scene. Inflict 3 burn to each other? Wait, what? On hit, inflict 3 burn to each other. Draw 2 pages. This page prompts no action. Even if I am alone, night will come. And every night is followed by dawn. A mere star that will fade cannot hope to best the light of the rising sun. Be prepared, for today a star of the city shall be gone. Oh boy. We're already basically dead. Nullify power. Pulau. Ah! Okay, so she does a pulse that does damage. Yeah, I kind of figured as much. And it's a Milli song, so you know what that means. This is yet another episode that's gonna be, well, not demonetized, but copyright claimed. Woo! Not that it matters to me all that much, but I do just kind of find it funny every single time there's a Milli song. It's gonna be taken, so I'm just like, well, if you see midroll ads, you know why. If the die tagged as reverse scale loses in a clash, deal 70 stagger damage to self. Oh, so you basically stagger her, but yet you're also just kind of shooting yourself in the foot? Well, in that case, we may as well just go for it. Am I right, boys? I believe I am. Let's go for a little bit more damage. I am going to go for a clone, if we possibly can. And then I'm also going to go for a backstreet slash, just because we can. And then yeah, we'll be fine. Okay, well, so much for the stagger. We have won exactly 0 clashes so far. Hopefully we can do some more damage. That's a lot of burn coming in for us. We have won exactly 0 clashes so far. Excellent, very nice. She just gained another speed die. Oh, good. Oh, and this got stronger. Reverse scale. Yum. Oh, for me? Just for me? You shouldn't have. Let's attempt... Green stem is going to do literally nothing. Let's go for that. And then I guess we may as well just go for backstreet slash. Not that that's going to do a whole lot either. Wait, we can't... Oh, okay. Well, let's just go for it. And then maybe we can do a little something right here. And then I'm going to attempt to potentially counter this. I don't think it's going to go very well, but let's see what we can do.
Okay, we do a bit of stagger to herself. She's gonna get insanely strong next turn, so I don't really know how worth it that is. Wing Beat has gone really well. We are dead to burn. Alright, excellent. Nice. We've done basically no damage at all. Okay, Malice would have been nice last turn. And then I guess let's just go for the shooty shoot, because we're literally already dead. Yeah, now we're super, super dead, so we'll just go for a Hornet and see what happens. Because, yeah. Hey, you're inflicted with Fragile. Does that do anything to you? Wait, she countered it? Great. You aided me when I was blind like a... Let's take a break from that and do whoever Servant of Wrath is. What in the world? What's this now? I'm seeing a bunch of wood dolls. She seems to be looking for something. So, we're supposed to kill those wooden puppets? We might be able to handle this if we...
We might be able to handle this if we figure out why she is consumed with... Yeah. She has wrath.
Attacks a Servant of Wrath. HP does not fall below 30 from a Librarian's attacks. If the character's HP is 30 or below at the end of the H... What? Okay. Dear companion. Gain +5 power when clashing against the Servant of Wrath. Takes no burn, bleed, or erosion. Oh, we get erosion? That'll be good when we eventually get that. While one or more of the Hermit's staves are present, uses a mass attack page every 2 scenes. When 2 realms meet. Changes behavior when all the staves are defeated. On the first scene of the new cycle, attacks a Servant of Wrath. After attacking, uses a mass attack that summons more. Okay. Now what do you do? Today's play. Only the Servant of Wrath can defeat the Hermit. The abnormality battle is concluded when the Hermit is defeated. Prioritizes attacking the Hermit staffs. If no Hermit staff is present, attack the Hermit. While one or more Hermit staffs are present... While one or more Hermit staffs are present, after taking 30 total damage, uses a mass attack page. Embodiments of Evil! On the following scene, the total damage counter is reset. When the abnormality starts attacking the Hermit, uses Embodiments of Evil to... Okay. So what the heck do you do? Erosion. Good. Erosion. Deal 10 damage to self. Gain 2 strength next turn. Erosion. Interesting. Would you kindly make way? Give 2 strength and endurance to the staves. Would you kindly make way? Okay. I think I know what's happening here. We can't bleed him or anything. Oh, would you kindly? Ha! Staggered. Alright. Servant of Wrath. Get her. Him. It. Get it. Ark! You got this! Destroy him! Look, literally staggered, and you have an extra 2 strength. I knew it. Embodiments of evil. 2 erosion. I mean, I'm fine with you doing the damage to us, as long as you kill it.
Oh, you're cute. We were true friends, right?
You were cute. Gotta be honest, for not knowing what was going on like half the fight, that was a really easy first try. That was ridiculously easy. And with that, we have finished the floor of natural science. Wrath. The selected librarian enters a state of wrath. The librarian will become uncontrollable. Also, librarian gains 2 strength, restores 2 light, and... that's good if someone's alone, I guess. When there's no companion present, the first enemy the selected librarian hits is marked as one. When the selected librarian defeats the companion, all librarians restore 3 life. Whoa, that seems good. Inflict 5 erosion to all enemies. Enemies with erosion also. Oh, so this is another way to get erosion. I thought it was just going to be from the messenger. Okay. Well, nice.
What could you be musing on? Intoxicated all by your lonesome.
Ugh.
You don't seem to be in the mood for conversation.
I don't really feel like treating you nicely.
Are you upset about your alone time being interfered? Or is it the shackles of the past that bind you?
Both, I guess. I dislike both. I'm denied something of my own, then and now. But I do enjoy having drinks with others sometimes.
On the premise that I am not among... Netzach, there is someone among us!
Bum 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 bum. Oh, that was terrible.
Others?
I'm just saying I'm not totally against it. I don't think you'll buy it, but let me ask out of courtesy. You want to have a drink?
You do know what my answer would be. As you suspected, I don't quite feel like having a beverage.
What are you here for, then? There's nothing else to see here.
Let's say that I have been visiting others to introduce myself again.
You're not like before.
Perhaps I am experiencing changes, as nobody is ever truly immutable.
Yes.
Oh,
I've been doing yes on this whole time. Oh, no!
Yes, speaking of, it would seem most of the patron librarians have collected their thoughts and made up their minds. What about you?
I don't know yet. I'm scared of decidedly setting my mind on something, too. If what I choose turns out to be an untruthful answer, I wouldn't know what to do.
No man can choose the right path at all times. One only has to believe that the path they are taking is the right one. Such is the nature of truth. It is akin to faith. The paths you have chosen, where you stand at the moment, all that you've seen, heard, and touched for yourself constitute the road to truth. You need to carry the faith that you're headed for truth.
Thanks for the nice words, whatever that was about. Though what you're saying is all too hard for me to wrap my head around. It's always been. Do you make up your mind at least?
Maybe so, perhaps no. Peradventure, I will express my thoughts when everyone has formed an opinion. I suppose I shouldn't waste any more of your time. It was a short yet enjoyable conversation.
Blue star! Ooh! Man, I'm seeing, everybody's like in the wrong department for their favorite abnormality. Ah! Well, Cozy's in the wrong department, ain't he?
Here in the outside, there are fanatics everywhere.
It wasn't easy having to deal with it sucking up employees, or clerks like me.
If we don't stay sharp, we might be dragged to that place. If your faith in a certain thing is strong enough, your mind will not sway to other temptations.
1,000 health?
Scared. Cannot be targeted. Immune to status ailments. The sound of a star. Starting with the third seed, the shrine to the blue star uses a mass attack page every 3 scenes. If a character is staggered, kill them and lose 10% of max HP. If a worshipper dies from the effects of blue star, all librarians will recover stagger resist, and all worshippers take damage. If a librarian dies from the effect, all worshippers, it is the reverse, basically.
Oh, you look very happy. I can hear the sound of a star! You only take Pierce Stagger. What? There are less than 4, a new one will spawn. Oh, it's random what they take. Okay, no, this is fine. If the character's stagger resist is 40% or lower, instead uses a page that causes the character self-destruct. What? So we really need to focus one down.
Our faith is never wrong,
for the star.
We are all sinners.
For the star. For the star. For the star. For the star.
Weak to Pierce, huh?
Well then, let us concentrate our fire. We'll be returning to no blue star today. Thank you very much.
We're all sinners for the star!
No, get away from me. You're nasty, disgusting, downright despicable. We have to ensure that we are not staggered.
Okay. Super low, so he's gonna self-destruct. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish him off.
30 seconds until the clock falls. 30 seconds. That's all the time you have.
Oh my goodness, I was going for the wrong one. Running out of time, running out of time, running out of time, running out of time. Alright, we did it. Nope, Caden didn't get to attack. Oh! I didn't realize he's just gonna do damage! I thought there was... Okay. Sombor might die.
Begone with your idiotic means.
The sound of a star! Alright, I have what you've all been waiting for. Lily has joined us at last. I think Lily will be a fine magical addition to Tifereth's floor. Of course, Amaterasu no longer has to wear his favorite maid outfit because Lily was willing to wear it with Kinsey. So, overall, I think Lily will be fine, and we're gonna put her to the test immediately with something very special. Lost in thought, are you? What could you be pondering about?
Long ago, I used to think that my existence didn't have any meaning. I had no expectations for my life. I just felt obligated to live out the life given to me.
And that's changed now?
Enoch was different. He always had his eyes set on the light that seemed so far away. I wondered how he could have such an outlook. But I think I understand now. It's expectations that give us the strength to push through hardship.
Those expectations being?
That we can trust things to become better tomorrow. That my life holds possibilities and significance that could make this world a better place.
That's too much optimism for me.
Natural science is a field of study. Burn? Well, I mean, there is someone with burn now, but born out of the urge to understand the inner workings of the world. Pure curiosity. Maybe people couldn't stand the unfairness that came from the inability to understand the world around them. So they began lighting up the world with knowledge, but only few made that advance while others went back to the shadow-filled cave they were in. Still too few are in a bright spot where they can see all the laws of nature. Most enclose themselves with darkness yet again, consuming the results without understanding the process.
Maybe you guys were right about the whole world being on the wane. This world is full of things they can't understand even if they tried, so they just close their eyes. It's gonna carry on just fine with one fewer person anyway.
But that's not what you're meant to do. You can't keep your eyes shut forever. That's not the humanity I know. Humans constantly try to understand and move towards light. And I'm sure you're no different.
Look, I don't care what you think about humans, but don't force your generalizations on me. All that's ahead of me was darkness. There was a single glimpse of light.
It may seem as if there's no light. You may think it's too dark to see anything. But the light is in fact still there. There are many kinds of light, not just one. Once you gain the insight to see those other lights, you don't have to stay curled up in the darkness anymore. Though it's up to you to approach that light or stay in darkness.
I'm just too worn out to walk towards any light. Heck, there's no way I could magically start seeing light that I couldn't my whole life in the first place. Even if I move forward, there's nothing left for me.
I don't have anything I want either. I don't want to have any more expectations. There's no point doing that. Not in this city.
That's not true. You will harbor expectations, you just refuse to admit it.
The empty husk of a man returns to his home, covered in the blood of strangers. Musty air, gray room, a bit large for one person. A mind that feels a bit too empty for a lonely life. In that unlit room,
I lie on the sofa and stare at the ceiling. Beer cans rolling around on the floor, cigarette ash floating in the air, droplets of water falling from the kitchen tap, plinking in the sink. Laughter seeping through the wall. The scenery I could have been in. Scenery I've lost. The room of a man who holds no expectation. A room with not a single sign of improvement. Every night I fall asleep without any hope. A room occupied by a single black lump.
똑똑, 속 시커먼 애송이 거기 있지?
Knock knock. Are you there, kid with a pitch black heart? Kid. Purple Terror? She's the only person I can think of who calls everybody a kid. I bet you're flopped on your bed after lashing out your anger at some unlucky plebs yet again. I'm here to make an offer you can't possibly refuse. Care to give it a listen? What? It's not Angela this time.
You aren't even a real human. What makes you think you can talk to me like you know all about people?
Because I know. Because I've seen it. I've seen the struggles of humans who writhed in agony to illuminate the world, to grope their way to light.
People aren't as strong as you think. They're just lumps. And you're a copy of that lump. A fake. There's no meaning to be found anywhere. Hopes are just empty dreams. Expectations will never get you where you want.
Tifereth, what happened while I was looking away for a moment?
Looks like Roland's mind resonated with this place. The emotions were amplified from interactions with the patron librarian of each floor and their subject matter. That might be why he got ruffled over small things and snapped. It's only a guess, though.
That sounds like a plausible explanation. I unwillingly exposed disorderly sides of myself a few times as well because of that. I'm sure you know how to handle this situation by now, right, Tifereth? I'm counting on you.
That faint smile on your face. Is this really fun to you?
Well, to an extent, yes. I didn't want to be the only one with a history of making an embarrassing scene, you see.
Oh boy!
Well, this is new, all right.
Roland turned into that? The power, it wasn't just affecting Lady Angela? We'd do something, but there's too little we know.
We don't know everything about Roland, but we might not understand him fully. But we've got to face him head-on!
No, it's Magical Girl! No, I hated this fight. This was like one of the top 3 hardest fights so far. Okay. Oh, good. Magical Boy Roland. Here we go. Single point stab. Single point stab. And then we'll just, hold out. With love! Okay. Bit of damage. Ow. Alright. She's the villain. We've got to lose some clashes now. The burn's gonna be helpful. Maybe if we can land a stagger? Not too hysterical yet. Okay. Well, Roland, I guess this is how this has to be. Okay, getting a little bit hysterical. Okay, won the clash, got some damage. Lindsay is not looking good. If we could just get a stagger, that would help us a lot. So close. Jeez, you don't take damage. Okay. On a successful pierce attack, deal... Ooh. This for Tiffrith. Okay, who's getting marked? You're making Kinsey the villain again? You're just trying to finish her off. Okay. Hopefully we can just finish him off. That percent... that, percent health damage. Amazing. Okay, it's over. Next phase. Oh, this one next.
This really is like a monster. He's turning even creepier.
Can we really do this? Everyone taking care of yourselves? Things are getting tough. How's Miss Tiffrith doing?
It's okay. Don't worry about me and focus on the fight.
Okay, we just did this fight, and I can't say I really understood it, so that's not good. What's different about you? Only Roland can defeat the Hermit. Yeah. Prioritizes the staves, moments of evil, embodiments of evil. Okay. So... just do the damage, I guess, right? There we go. Oh! What? That was a max roll! Why did you do it again? Ah! Oh well, it's alright. Get as much damage as we can. As early on as we can, preferably. Okay. Blind Rage. Almost down, actually. Staggered! Ah! Okay. He did get some damage off, a little bit of erosion. Blessing could be good, Justice could be good. I personally want to go for Love. Love Kinsey. Kinsey can feel a little bit of love, huh? Mass attack. Hold still. Okay, just do damage. We're gonna take a little bit ourselves, but it's not the worst. Good! Yes! Good! To where the prescript points. Yes! Good! The dagger press! Okay, he didn't land anything. That's a bit unfortunate. Not the end of the world, just a little bit unfortunate. Single point stab! Well, we're, getting there. Keep going. Companion. The first enemy the selected librarian hits is marked as one. When the selected librarian defeats the companion, all librarians... Okay. I don't know if that's good right now. Gain 1 endurance for each... Ooh. If the first wins a clash... Alright, Kinsey, you're up. Time to win some clashes, girl. 4 speed die! Whoa! See what we can do. Ow. Okay. Ah. Yes! Okay. The greed! Okay, he's just about down, which means we're just about ready to move on. Point blank stab. Attack! I don't know what that sound was. Mass attack. Embodiments of evil. Are we confident this is gonna kill? Not really. So 3 to 7, 3. We can potentially block this, right? Emotional turbulence. Okay, let's see what we can do. Ah, didn't quite do enough. He is staggered now. Well, I only wanted to win the clash. I didn't actually want to, like, go all in on you. Okay, he did it. Next phase. Looking fabulous, Roland. I wonder how it feels to lose the very thing you wanted to protect. Oh.
I wonder how it feels to lose the very thing you wanted to protect.
I'll never get it completely since I haven't experienced it myself. Even if the fault lies on yourself, being ridden with too much guilt will eat away at you like poison.
That poison is about to hurt us now.
It must feel hopeless for sure. More than words could describe.
Ooh, it's music. Ooh. Okay, obviously can't attack her. Need to go for him. Need to go for the swords. Okay.
Well, let's win some clashes then.
Or wait, only this one can be killed, right? Yeah. Let's do this. Okay. I will accept that. That's okay too. Okay, just get as much damage as we can. Oh, that percent health damage is so good. Ah, duty calls. The soul technique. Oh, that 10 damage proc. Whew! You love to see it. Unfortunately, we're running a little bit out of resources here. We can't do collision. Dang, that would have been the perfect time. Extract fuel. Big damage. You love to see that. 1 down. Hopefully 2 down. Ow. Ow. About to be staggered. Alright. 2 staggered. And 1 guaranteed down. Almost 3 staggered. 2 down. Greed. In a clash, if the winner's dice roll is greater than the loser by 4 or higher, the loser takes bonus damage and the winner recovers health. Companion could be good. You know what? Let's get greedy. Here we go. Next phase. The gem fam, the starved greed. So we just need to block it. See what we can do. Okay, 1 blocked. Oh, it did damage. 2 blocked. I thought 2 were blocked. Apparently 1 of them did not actually get blocked. Okay, this should be enough. It might be a little bit close, but I'm confident. Oh yeah. Greed.
Do you think there can be an end to greed?
Might get weakened for a while, but it won't disappear for good. As they say, being denied even the hope of having a tiny bit of happiness is such a sad thing. Don't you know how big of a bliss it is to live a peaceful life in this city?
The sadness of one's pleasure being taken away will be the same, however big or small.
Oh, looking good. Can we have some of these outfits? These are so... Oh, I love the abnormality outfits. They look so good. Okay, this is a big turn. We are going to do so much damage this turn. Hopefully. Okay, just keep doing a little bit of damage. We're not doing as much as I would have liked, but we're still doing damage. Okay. It's adding up. Maybe a reset? Unfortunately not. Boy, would it have been nice, though. Okay. Lindsay is missing a speed die now. Okay. Okay, we're gonna take some damage no matter what we do on this turn. But hopefully we're not doing any damage? Right. About to charge up the big attack, I see. I understand. Big damage turn. We are going to be doing a lot of damage this turn. He's also about to do the Road to Greed, I believe. Oh, really? The last one had to win? I guess it was kind of to be expected that it would win, but still. Doesn't make it any less worse. Okay. Covered a little bit of health, but we are still doing a massive amount of damage. Oh, that sucks. Might have staggered. Wait, did stagger. It's over? I think it's over. Go for good. Let's also get another good. Clean up. And good. Let's just recover, because I don't trust this is the end. Okay, everybody recovered a lot. So at the very least, we have a lot to work with. What in the world?
What the heck is this? A clown?
I haven't seen anything about this one in the records. Seems like there are a lot of abnormalities we never had the chance to see. Miss Tifrith, what should we do?
Don't worry, I believe we can do it.
What the heck? Nihil. All returns to nil. Has unique modes of behavior that cycle in the following order: Nihil, Greed, Hate, Despair, Wrath. Each mode features different passive abilities and combat pages. Takes no stagger damage outside of Wrath mode. Takes no damage from Bleed, Burn, Erosion. The character's speed die cannot be sealed. Petrified Hate. The magical girl of love will stand in for the librarian that breaks his statue at the start of the next scene. If a magical girl breaks the statue, the librarian with the lowest current HP will be replaced instead. Magical girls possess key pages with unique stats, passive abilities, and combat pages. Huh. We need to free the magical girls and we get to use them? No, speaking my language. What? Oh, please tell me that's as good as it sounds. Target librarians are inflicted with a lot. Can we even win that? Takes no stagger damage. What the heck? I don't know if we... 15 to 15. We literally don't have anything that can out-roll that. Or no, it's a mass summonation. This is gonna hurt. Well, we blocked it on everybody. Whoa. Oh, jeez. Our damage is non-existent. We have to get through 1,000 health? Okay, so we need to break out the magical girls. Me going specifically for him was a bad idea. So he's different now. Worthless greed. Combat pages used against his character lose 5 power unless the magical girl of happiness is the user. Happiness? Which one is happiness? Each time the character loses a clash, a random ally gains Fragment of Bliss, uses a mass attack the road to gold. If all allies negate the attack, lose 50 HP, shifts to hate. If any ally is hit, deal 10 damage, and the other librarians restore 20 HP. On a successful hit, deals bonus damage equal to the amount of bleed. Okay. So... Oh, so he's greed right now. I think I get it? Yeah, I think I understand. See what we can do. Let's open up some of these cages, shall we? Oh. Oh, wow. Yeah, that minus 5 power is, Oh, wow, that's nasty. Well, that's one free. Okay, and then we didn't do very much there. That did no damage. Magical Girl of Courage. A real magical girl. At the start of the scene, draw 3 pages and restore 3 life. Courage uses a unique set of combat pages. Now, what is he? Worthless greed. Okay, he's still greed.
Pointless endeavor.
Huh.
The road to gold.
If all allies negate this page. Well, I've got bad news for you. Hope. Give 2 strength and endurance. Oh. Can't use it yet. I'll protect my friend. Inflict erosion. I can't lose here. Erosion.
For the justice and balance of this land.
Mass individual. So... let's try and win some clashes? Unfortunately, I think we're going to lose someone. Oh, he's breaking them. Or wait, we broke them. Ugh. I see, that was a mass attack. Yeah, we couldn't stop the road to gold. We're going to lose some people. Ah. Oh, whoa, she is tanky. I mean, still taking quite the beating, but tanky. Yes! Love! After winning 10 clashes, the cost of Arcana Slave is reduced to 0.
The magical girl of happiness. Greed.
Okay. Well, let's see what we can do, shall we?
The road to gold.
On hit, stagger target. I'm sorry. Well, let's stagger him, shall we? Sword piercing the heart. Okay. Ah! Arcana Slave is 9! Woo! Okay. Hope. Or wait. Combat stuff. Oh, I see. Okay. So let's give some hope. Because currently, the only one being attacked is here. We want her to do as much damage as possible, yeah? Yeah.
In the name of justice.
Well, this is gonna be a one-sided attack. May as well use it.
The road to gold.
Ow. Ow.
Overwhelming luster.
Wow, that turn did not go how I imagined it would. That did not go very well. Road to gold again. Man, that went really terrible. Gained upon destroying a brilliant bliss can only be used as seen. Okay. Sure, I guess I'll use that. Yep. Okay, now that I actually know what I'm doing, this has gone so much better. This has gone so unbelievably much better. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna go all in. And I'm even gonna use hope on myself. Everybody's gonna use hope. We're gonna get the kill here. Okay, unfortunately we do not have another hope. I'm going to buff up. Okay, buff. And then I also want to go for another attack. And you know what? While we're at it, we may as well just keep going for every possible attack that we can do. We'll just go for the hit. And then one-sided. Yup. And one-sided. The power of magical girls is quite strong, as you're about to find out. Oh, he won that one. Okay, he won one, but that's fine. Keep doing as much damage as we can. Everyone must work together. The power of friendship. Let's buff up, shall we? 4 strength. We're preparing for wrath. All 3 swords are down. It looks like you're out of luck. Let's go for one of these, into a hope, into a double hit. Here we go. Big turn. Percent health damage, baby. Yes. Let you feel the wrath that we can dish out. It turns out when we work together, we're quite the force to be reckoned with. Alright, now go to Wrath so we can beat this once and for all. Or he just won't change? I mean, in that case, I'm just gonna try and kill you. So be it. You must be defeated. And we are the ones who will defeat you. Love, courage, happiness, and justice. All of it stands in your way, nihilism. And you will not succeed. Not this time. Not ever. Go ahead, transform. See what awaits you. Here we go. The hope to finish off nihilism. The staggering! Wait, does that not work on him? He can take stagger damage, so I'm led to believe he's actually staggered. However, we might just be able to finish this off here and now. Look at that health shred. Goodbye, nihilism. Woo! Please tell me that we can actually use that normally. I'm gonna be so sad if we cannot transform into magical girls with the ego pages. It was so cool! Please let it be a thing! I have nothing but my sorrow, and I want nothing more. It has been, it still is, faithful to me. That wasn't my proudest moment.
Are you feeling better now?
I don't know. I do feel kind of relieved, but that didn't really feel like myself.
It's good you vented out your feelings, at least.
I'm, sorry about calling you a fake and stuff earlier.
I don't mind. I've already gone through numerous repeats carrying someone's memories. I'm not sure if I really am the same as my past self anymore. So you aren't wrong on that account.
But are you okay with losing your old self completely?
Why are you so serious about it? I don't care about what my original is. And I don't mind if I'm stuck here as a librarian. I'm good as long as I actually exist here, and that I think. Every one of us has our own worth and meaning, simply by existing.
Even for a man like me, who holds zero expectation?
I'm sure you do. I'm honestly not very confident, even though I speak like I know better. But I still want to have faith. You're free to believe whatever you want, right?
Yep. Right you are. Please have ego pages that turn us into the magical girls, please! Don't deny me this! This is such a big thing. Don't deny me, please! Nihilism. Magical girls. At the start of the scene, a combat page in hand with the highest cost, that is lower than 4, is marked with a magical symbol. After losing 4 clashes, gain 5 protection and become immune to status ailments. Oh, interesting. Add all returns to the void. Exhaust all pages from hand. Every scene after this gains strength and endurance equal to the number of pages exhausted this way. This page is also included in the deck. Oh, so it even helps you out getting stronger. This page is only effective if the librarians possess all 4 of the following abnormality pages. Greed, hate, inflict. Oh, please. Look, they only have 1. Please, 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 please. Okay. It's still really powerful. Seal a speed, seal 2 speed die. Restore 1 light, gain 1 strength. Target all other characters. Nihil. If there are no pages in hand, inflict 4 feeble, disarm, bind, and paralysis. You can't turn into him again? Come on, bro. You can't just give me a taste of pure power and then take it away? Origin of the elements. Effective nuclear charge.
Ah, is this the right shelf?
That's the one.
Oh, I saw Malkuth and immediately slipped into it.
Sort the books in order, please.
This one goes here. Malkuth, could you bring me that book over there?
Got it. There are lots of difficult-looking books here.
Why are we on the floor to help with work like this?
What other option do I have? I suddenly got a huge pile of books to organize, and the only vacant shelves are up high. But getting up there with the books is a tough task to do on my own. I usually get help from Cheese and Gabura, but they both seem busy today. And Roland is nowhere to be seen. Where did that beanpole go?
Oh, I saw Roland go upstairs some time ago, in fact.
Must have had some business there, I guess.
It looked like we had a lot of free time to you, huh?
Get a grip, Nutsack. Differith approached us to ask for help for the first time, you know? She rarely came over to the upper layer back in the days, so it was hard for me to see her. I'm actually happy she came to us this time, you know?
Yeah, your department was at the very top, so you must have had even fewer chances to see her.
Right. We were occupied with our work, too.
What is keeping the 2 patron librarians on the floors above busy at the moment, anyway?
You know how Cheese is. Librarians from the other floors drop by to enjoy his coffee all the time, and he's always happy to oblige. And Gabura's been sitting still with her eyes closed for some time. I'm not sure if she's sleeping or meditating.
Gabura's been meditating often ever since she woke up here. Maybe she has a lot of things to think about.
Maybe. I'd feel bad for invading her private moments too many times, just to ask for help with errands. It's not like I'm ignoring you or anything.
Oh, boy.
You don't have to help if you don't wanna. Don't you worry. Nutsack may be a bellyacher. But he's not hesitant to lend a hand.
You're certainly dealing with books on advanced subject matter, as Roland said. Some are quite difficult to comprehend, even for me.
What was that? Are you treating me like a child, like that beanpole did?
I did not intend to belittle you. It's only...
You're worried that I might have a real hard time trying to understand all these, right? I never had proper education, unlike you all.
Yes, that is the case. I did not mean to pity you, but are you really okay with this?
I kinda am upset, if you ask me, and the question could be taken as mockery if I wanted to take it that way. I can brush it off because I know you're not the kind of person to throw jabs at me, Yesod. Really? I thought you hated us all equally.
Upper layer syndrome.
Look, I'm sorry about that. I was immature back then, and I thought my opinions were always right. But not anymore. I'm still good at what I do, but now I admit that you aren't half bad either. That doesn't mean I want to be friendlier terms with all of you to make up for the past. Don't get me wrong. All I ask is that you don't feel so pressured about your relationships with me. We're fine the way it is now.
You must have changed your way of thinking quite a bit.
It's a perk of being more mature. Anyway, I didn't take offense at what you said, Yesod. I'm actually glad that you seem to get... how hard I'm trying, if you ask me. I'm the one who read all the books here, figured out what they're about, and labeled them after all.
You're very positive, aren't you?
I'm not. I would have been furious if someone else asked that. Alright, this is the last one for now, and... thanks for the help, guys.
Okay, we could technically do Gabura suppression now, but I'm gonna save that for the next episode. So, okay, I want to throw this in here because there's been a couple things people have asked for, and obviously I haven't shown them, so I think now is as good of a time as any. So, number 1, Malkuth breathing.
천천히 숨을 들이마시고 내쉬고 들이마시고 내쉬고.
There's Malkuth breathing. That's,
그렇게
and the
생각해?
other one is I was requested to show off, which apparently this translates to distorted yen, by the way. I was requested to show off that voice. Oh, it's like a typewriter. Yeah, it's like a typewriter being typed out, seemingly. Weird. And the last thing, not that anyone requested this, but I thought it'd be funny. Lobotomy corpse Sally! The difference is quite astonishing. And it even in Ruina, the hair is still nowhere near dark enough. What's up with that? What do you think? Do you prefer Lobotomy corpse Sally? Or the far closer to how she actually looks, Sally? Personally, I really like the hair and stuff from Lobotomy corpse Sally, but it's just, I can't get it the right color. That's like the biggest thing. Although I do, honestly, I think this one is obviously closer, but if only she could have looked perfect in Lobotomy Corp. Alrighty, that is going to do it for this episode of the Library of Ruina. It sure didn't feel like we got a lot of progress in this episode, but trust you me, we got a lot more than it seems, that much is for certain. Now, there is some things I do want to bring up. Number one is that, yes, even though we did, it helps us in the now, but doesn't help us later. Reason being, we still have to do that fight during the floor realization, so even though it does help us get some progress now, it doesn't help us when it comes to actually doing the fight again. So yeah, it is a temporary bit of progress until we need to figure out how to do it on the harder version of it, so you know what? At the end of the day, I've really only played myself. A worthwhile sacrifice for a little bit of Oonga Boonga and a little bit of progress. So, I also wanted to mention, my house is going to be tented.
Again?
So, from basically a couple episodes past this one, in both Darkest Dungeon and this, are going to be pre-recorded. I'm recording them as I'm potentially recording them as you're watching this, or if not, I'm potentially editing them as you're watching this. That's pretty cool, ain't it? So, yeah, there is going to be a couple of episodes that are pre-recorded. Now, I am hopefully good to go as far as characters and stuff goes. However, I'm going to be keeping an ear to the floor, so to speak, about, like, cosmetics you guys want, any changes you guys want. Basically, I'm just going to be keeping an ear to the ground, and whatever you guys tell me you would like for your character is what is going to happen. I mean, and I'm not going to be gone that long, like, at most, maybe 4 or 5 episodes total will be pre-recorded, so it's not like we're gonna miss out on... I'm not gonna miss out on a whole lot of things that you guys might tell me. It just might be a little bit awkward if you guys tell me how to do something, and then it's like, oh, I completely missed it. But hey, at the end of the day, even if I do miss it, at least I learned how to do it myself. Bing! Well, yeah. Now, this character, I know I didn't introduce her. This is Myra. This is one of my characters. If you would like to replace her, just go ahead and let me know. Because in the next one, you'll probably be replaced with her, if someone did. Also, I know I didn't show off some of these outfits. I'll show off how to get them in the next episode. I just felt like this episode was a little bit crowded. And these took a hot minute to actually beat and get. So, yeah. However, at the end of the day, I am pretty happy with where we stand as far as builds and as far as characters go. And in the Discord, I asked the question of what gifts should I go out of my way to farm? And while there wasn't really a clear answer, there was enough of an answer to where everybody has some form of build with their battle symbols. And obviously some characters are going to just be harder to farm for than others. But that is okay. So, overall, I'm pretty gosh darn happy with where we stand. Yeah, I got a little bit upset. When do I not? But, I mean, it's Library of Ruina. People are bound to get a little bit upset. And this episode was no different. So, even though Sombor does technically have a build and gifts, we just technically got him and then replaced him from Hakma to here. So, yeah, that's the reason he doesn't have the gifts yet. But I certainly feel good about the amount of gifts that we do have. And I think all of our characters have a pretty good amount of strength to them. And then this is one of our new characters who took over where Sombor is. She's blind. This is another one of my characters. If you would like to replace her, just let me know, and I'll get right on it. So we really don't have that many more characters to get. We are almost done when it comes to actually getting characters, which is a little bit of a shocker to me. I didn't think we would get this far into the game and get all the characters, just to be told that we are actually nowhere near the end of the game. That to me is extremely jarring. It's also very scary to know that we're nowhere near the end of the game. So overall, we are missing 2 whole characters. 1 in Cheese's department, and 1 in Hakma's. Overall, I'd say this was a pretty good episode. We actually got a pretty good amount of progress. We did 3 of Bina's stuff. So, here's a question. Will Fight 4 of Bina be the... Like, I feel like it couldn't be anything at that rate, right? Or am I just completely overthinking it? I don't know. I mean, we'll find out one way or another. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.